Next on Worcester News Tonight, neighbors upset about cars clogging streets around a popular city park. What Worcester is set to do about it. Plus, mortgage rates are rising across the U.S. Should people in the market for a new home be concerned? Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Anna Botari. A Worcester neighborhood is concerned about the amount of traffic on their road. Residents on Ames Street say it's dangerous and difficult to drive when the Vernon Hill Park is hosting sporting events. Now the city's beginning to warn people about parking in the area. Our Cam Jandro joins us now live with the details. Cam?
Anna, although it's 2 lanes, Ames Street can shrink down to 1 during baseball and softball season. In order to combat that, the city of Worcester put these warnings on cars' windshields throughout the neighborhood yesterday.
Worcester's Department of Public Works says they're strictly enforcing parking rules along Ames Street. These warnings were found on cars parked around Vernon Hill Park Monday night.
So those flyers were an informational piece to remind people that proper parking is required around our parks and in our neighborhoods, that we're park services.
According to Parks Division Assistant Commissioner Robert Antonelli, parking in undesignated spots clogs the roadway. One homeowner who didn't want to go on camera tells Worcester News Tonight it's almost impossible to get a car through when games are being played.
And that's what the neighbors are concerned with. They don't want to stop baseball games. They just want to have a little safety and protection for their homes and their property and their children and, their friends.
Neighbors have also reported issues with foul balls causing damage, despite massive nets designed to prevent baseballs from reaching nearby homes. At-large Councilor Gary Rosen says after another baseball incident last week, the neighborhood met with the city.
And it was good that we engaged the neighbors in discussions about the foul balls because they brought up other items of concern. It might be something that we can solve by some signage, as you say, some parking areas.
Violators could face a fine of up to $200 if they don't use thoughtful parking along Ames Street. But Antonelli wants tickets to be the last option.
That's a negative impulse instead of being a positive, let's park in the right locations, let's be, understanding of our neighborhoods and where you're playing ball.
Now, Antonelli says for the next week or so, they'll continue to warn drivers, but after then, they will begin enforcing fines. Anna?
Thanks, Cam. Worcester City officials issue a public health advisory to avoid any contact with water at Lake Quinsigamond. According to the city, a blocked sewer line on Ancona Road caused a minimal overflow. It affected 40 homes. The city says to avoid water at Browning Beach, Regatta Point Beach, the vicinity of Lake Ave Pumping Station, and Marine Corps League. The city will test the water until there's no longer a threat. Mortgage rates across the U.S. are on the rise. The average 30-year fixed mortgage has climbed a full percentage point over the last year and a half. Loan officer Brian Flynn says it was 6 or 7 years ago the last time rates were this high. He says generally when rates go high, it means the economy is doing well. He says people, especially those looking to buy a home, should not be concerned.
If you find the right house and you need to buy, it's always a good time to buy a house. It's just a matter of finding that right house. The longer you wait, potentially, the higher the rates could go. Affordability becomes into issue there, but it really comes down to circumstantial for each person.
Flynn says rates were so low for so long, they had nowhere to go but up. A groundbreaking in Worcester's Kelley Square Tuesday morning draws the attention of city and state officials and parties interested in the surrounding area. The $21 million housing and retail complex will be built on what used to be a parking lot in Kelley Square. Developer Alan Fletcher says the project, Harding Green, will include 48 market-rate apartment units, a restaurant, and a public market.
It's very emotional. It's emotional to have so many people supporting. It was what I was saying at the end. Do they really believe in the project? I don't know. They want to believe in the project, and that's very emotional.
We are very pleased to be able to partner with this developer, with the neighborhood committee, and with the city to invest in places like this because we know it's part of our economic development strategy.
The Pawtucket Red Sox general manager Dan Ray was also at today's groundbreaking. The team has reportedly been looking at areas in Worcester's Canal District for a new stadium. Ray says today they were just, quote, observing. The city has reportedly had long discussions with the team over the last few days. No word what was discussed, but one Worcester City councilor says while he doesn't have inside information, he feels confident the PawSox could soon call Worcester home.
Certainly very encouraged with the discussions the last several months. If you ask my prediction, the Pawtucket Red Sox will be moving to Worcester. I have no inside information, but I am very hopeful and encouraged.
Rosen says the city will continue to talk with the team. People will be offered free bus service between Worcester and Framingham stations beginning this weekend. The buses will replace commuter rail trains while the MBTA installs a federally mandated safety system between Worcester and Framingham. The service will begin May 26th and continue on weekends through June 17th, making stops at all stations. The MBTA website will have exact bus departure times. It has been exactly 2 years since an Auburn police officer was shot and killed in the line of duty. Officer Ronald Tarentino Jr. was killed during a traffic stop by a career criminal. Since then, the charge of assault and battery against a police officer has been enhanced from a misdemeanor to a felony in Massachusetts. Monday, Auburn and Leicester dedicated a bridge and part of a roadway in his name. After being destroyed by fire last year, the Massachusetts State Police Museum and Learning Center is officially reopened. While there are some older artifacts in the museum, there are also new items on display. Our Rosalind Flaherty has the story.
It was a long road coming.
The Massachusetts State Police Museum and Learning Center has a new home. A fire damaged the original in 2017, forcing it to close.
It was kind of very traumatic.
The museum preserves the history and legacy of the first state police department in the country and also teaches about police work.
Police work isn't just pulling people over. There's the forensic aspect of it. There's the detective work.
Executive Director Charlie Alejandro says the fire destroyed the second floor conference room of the old building and caused extensive smoke damage to some of the collection. But she says they were able to save some important artifacts from the department's 151-year history.
Some did have to get refurbished. We did lose a lot of display cases that had just been purchased.
She says the nonprofit was able to move to a different location in Grafton and even add new displays.
We have Colonel Foot's original badge, which is very valuable. It was one of the first badges issued. We have a life-size horse here that it actually depicts the mounted unit.
Volunteers say they are glad to keep the legacy of the state police alive.
We're glad that things have turned out well, and we're glad to be open again so we can actually show people what we really have for the history of the state police.
Rosalind Flaherty, Worcester News Tonight.
The town of Shrewsbury will still use styrofoam containers after residents voted against banning the product in a close vote Monday night. 4 high school students petitioned for the ban, saying styrofoam is toxic to the environment and humans. According to the Telegram, the students were asked to bring the article back to the town meeting after some issues are worked out with the local Board of Health. In the end, after a lengthy debate, the article was defeated by 3 votes. Local and safe, a farm in central Massachusetts aims to deliver what they say is the freshest and best tasting lettuce in the state, and a new greenhouse will allow them to do so. Our Chandler Walsh explains.
Fresh baby lettuce moves through the greenhouse at Little Leaf Farms in Devens. The New England farm, competing with dominant California growers, reminds people to buy local.
California stuff is cut today and it's in the stores maybe 7 to 10 days from now. Our stuff is cut today and it's in the store tomorrow.
The farm celebrated an expansion Tuesday with tours of their hydroponic greenhouse. Mass Development gave about $5 million in loans to help, and Chair Jay Ash says buying local improves the state's economy.
We're really excited to see innovation enter any of our sectors, and when it comes to agriculture, people don't always think about innovation, but this is truly an innovative facility. In fact, the world's most innovative way of growing lettuce.
Little Leaf Farms greenhouse has doubled in size. They now have 5 acres under controlled glass.
In Massachusetts, we have winters and they're fierce. To basically compensate, you need to grow in a greenhouse, in a controlled environment, and our product is stable year-round.
Recently, there have been nationwide E. coli outbreaks tied to California lettuce. CEO Paul Salou says little leaf lettuce is safe. The lettuce is grown with recycled rainwater and without any chemicals or pesticides. It's also seeded, grown, cut, and packaged without touching human hands.
As contrasted to the California guys, you don't know what's running through their fields. It's field agriculture, so it's night and day different. And food safety is a core part of our value proposition.
Chandler Walsh, Worcester News Tonight.